One. And we are live. Workvine 209. I'm Eric.
And I'm Linda. Thank you for joining our show today again. This is the month of August, and we're doing some fabulous things out here in Tracy, California, Workvine 209 co-working space. And now we're just highlighting different businesses in our pivot to bring to the listeners some informative stuff that can help them with their business or maybe learn something new. But anyways, we have a great person on board today. He's actually a member of Workvine 209, and I'm going to have Eric introduce him.
Yeah, this gentleman has been a member since the start, and we've seen him kind of grow and expand his business. He's doing some great stuff in our community, and he is the CEO of System 4 of San Joaquin Valley. His name is Jose, and we're going to welcome Jose, and he's going to talk a little bit about how he got started in his business, what encouraged him to get started and having his own business, and what it's like to be in business for yourself. So welcome, Jose.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Jose? How you doing?
How are you guys?
Good.
I want to thank you guys for, setting up this place. Workvine 209 has definitely been an integral part of my business. It's a great location, and it's got all the amenities, that we need, to grow our business.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you too, Jose, because you were our first member. You're member number one. Numero uno.
I didn't realize when I first walked in here, but it was a great place, and I realized that as soon as I walked in. I was your first member. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Uni 2 was our very first client, but you were our first walk-in client, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So that's good. So share a little bit, of your background and how you got started with System 4.
Okay, sure. So a little bit of my background. I have a degree in chemistry. So I worked for about 19 years in the pharmaceutical industry, in the biotech industry. I worked manufacturing for about a little bit over a year in Genentech in South City. And then I started working a little bit closer to home in the Emeryville, Berkeley area with first with Chiron, then Novartis, and then finally with Bayer right there in Berkeley. So about 19 years, working in the biotech industry. Bayer was coming at a crossroads, because their therapeutic drug that they produce was pretty much going to be not competitive anymore because people were coming out with gene therapies. So basically, their treatment was going to be obsolete because other companies were finding a cure for this hemophilia A. So anyway, they had they wanted to do some workforce reduction, and they offered us a package, for basically a severance package to those who wanted to leave the company voluntarily. And at that time I said, this, I've always wanted to start my own business, and I figured, with 8-month severance package, a little over 8 months, I said this would be a great time, to gives me a little bit of runway, of benefits and pay to get my business started. And to me, it was a no-brainer. I've always wanted to do it. I was getting, I don't want to wait too long to start my business because, I wanted to be fairly young so I could have the energy to grow it and enjoy it. So it was, everything kind of came together at that time. It was back in at the end of 2018. And so at that point, I started I went to a business looking for a franchise, and I came across a franchise. I don't know if there was such a thing as franchise brokers. And these are people, who go out and
Yeah.
they give you, some of them give you tests where like a personality test, and they say, well, you would be good at this, or you would be good at that. And it turned out to actually working with one franchise broker turned out to be like a full-time job, because they give you, 3 different franchises to look at depending on your what they think you would fit, based on a questionnaire that they give you. And so that was like a full-time job, interviewing these 3 companies. Well, I was working with 3 franchise brokers. So it was quite a challenge. But anyway, one of the brokers came up with this company, System 4. And he was telling me about it. He gave me a profile of I looked at the profile of the current franchisees. I was able to do my due diligence on them and see what they do. I really like that you have freedom here to pretty much run your business creatively, which is you don't get with many franchises. Many franchises are very strict with what you can do, how you can advertise, what kind of businesses you go after. With System 4, I'm pretty much just limited to my territory, and actually I can go outside of my territory as long as it's not owned by any other franchise, any other System 4 franchise. So I also like the royalty structure was very generous, and mostly because of the fact that Phil Kubik, the person who started System 4, he has started a company called Coverall, and he had been a franchisee at one point. So he really looked at it, set up the business from a franchisee's perspective.
Wow.
So yeah, it seemed like like a good opportunity for me.
Wow.
So when did you start System 4 again, in 2018?
Yeah, well, I started, I signed up for 54. It was probably December of 2018, and I actually started opening my office. It was January 2019. That's when, I came to the territory. System 4 came down, and they helped me, find business and get me settled in. So yeah, even though I signed all the paperwork at the end of 2018, officially, I guess I was open for business in January 2019.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
I started here in July, right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019,
Yeah,
July
yeah.
2019 is when you started here. And we both have grown so much since when we first started, like when Workfriend first started, when you first started. The opportunity we got to have was we got to see you grow your organization, and you have like hit the ground running. When January 2019, I didn't know you prior to July, but from July on to date, oh my gosh, you have done so much. Tell us a little bit about all your accomplishments.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. Especially during this time, the System 4 is a facilities management company. So a lot of the business is commercial cleaning. But we also do other things. I have some clients where we also do repairs and maintenance, anything from electrical, plumbing, HVAC, you name it, pretty much landscaping. I think I have some customers where I only do commercial cleaning. I have other customers where I only do repair and maintenance, like an apartment complex here in Tracy is strictly, I do landscaping, plumbing, electrical, and there's some where I do both. The company and Gobble over here in Stockton, where we do the daily janitorial. We also do repair and maintenance, and we do other stuff. So yeah, and that's the other thing that I like about System 4 is that is the versatility, and that you can get creative on how to serve your customer. So yeah, we've been growing somewhat slowly. Let's see, not long after I started here in Workline,
Yeah.
I hired a marketing company out of St. Louis. And they did a really good job of putting me in front of really quality leads. potential customers. And I was able to close some of those accounts, and that has really helped my business quite a bit.
Wow.
And so COVID-19 thing, and then a lot of my existing customers have requested extra cleanings, extra disinfection. I've had some customers who've had actually COVID cases in their facilities, so we also provide disinfection services, fogging with EPA registered chemicals, and wearing all that PPE and things like that. Basically, so they can safely open back up after they have COVID case.
So would you say that, I know we ask the question a lot, how has COVID affected you? And most people in their business have been challenged by COVID. So how has it affected your business?
COVID, well, yeah, it's been a double-edged sword because it has limited my ability to get new clients to a certain extent. Because if you have, let's say, a customer, a facility that has a current cleaning company that's not doing a great job, right now at this time they might be hesitant of meeting with a new cleaning company and make that switch, because that means new people coming in. It's a little bit of an unknown. So it has been limiting. And also some of the potential clients, like they're not meeting with new people because of this whole COVID thing. I've ran into that several times. So where before I could meet face to face with a prospect, now you can sometimes have to do it over the phone, which is not the same. Typically, that doesn't leads to a little bit of a phone tag and not closing the sale, basically.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's been other opportunities. Like I said, extra disinfection and extra cleanings and things like that. But so in all, if I had to, I would say it's been a little bit of a help, actually, the COVID.
Wow.
And so much for where I'm at right now, but where I'm going to take my business going down the road. Because right now we are offering, like I said, the cleaning and disinfection. But down the road, I'm also going to be focusing on the future of disease prevention, which is going to be doing like antiviral coatings.
Right.
I think it's where this, this is going to go eventually, because, as you guys know, right now, if you disinfect the surface, if then somebody who's sick was carrying a pathogen, comes and touch that surface, and then they can reinfect that surface. Whereas some of these antimicrobial coatings that I'm going to be getting, going to be doing here pretty soon, you can put a coating on a surface that can last up to 120 days.
Wow. That's really good. So
and the good thing about it too is chemical free. Basically, right now, a lot of there's a lot of good disinfectants out there. Some of the ones that I use, the very low toxicity. You can use it. I can fog an area, and then you can come back in the area 20 minutes later. You can spray it on food contact and surfaces and things like that. So they're very low toxicity, but they're all killing the pathogen in a chemical way. Where like some of these antimicrobial coatings kill the pathogens in a mechanical way. They put a coating on the surface, and I can go into it, but it basically is it's a molecule that's bonded to the surface, which has a charge. And when the pathogen, whether it be a bacteria, mold, or virus, comes into contact, with that molecule, then it ruptures, it ruptures the cell in that pathogen, and it provides. That's how it kills it kills the pathogen. So it's a different way of providing protection without using a lot of chemicals. And plus, it gives you a long-lasting, surface protection for 90 to 120 days.
Wow. That's really good.
That is, I could
Yeah.
see your business really taking off because it is so much needed in today's time right now in this new normal face mask and disinfection and washing your hands and social distancing. I mean, but the disinfecting part is going to play a big role in a lot of businesses. While other businesses are kind of suffering, your business, I feel, is going to take off because it's a needed business. It's a needed chemical. It's not even a chemical, but it's a needed source where everybody is going to need to have it in their business, in their home, at school, even the restaurants could really benefit from having the service provided to them. So how would you sell it, or how would you get in contact with the people that need to what is the process? Maybe we'll start there. What is the process of getting started?
Well, yeah, I mean, right now I haven't really been advertising it so much. I recently completed my training with the Global Biorisk Advisory Council, and I'm going to keep up, with them because they're providing a lot of this information. Right now, mostly I'm providing it to current customers. I'm going to start working with some of the other members here at Workline to help me put this up on Facebook, up on my website, and also when I reach out to customers, through my marketing company, this is a service that I'm also going to be telling them, that we also offer. But yeah, you guys are going to see. I mean, I think pretty soon we're all going to be experts in, disinfection because we're almost going to have to, or how things like that. But there's a lot of interesting things coming down the pipe that you guys are going to see, as far as like having special air filters in your home, that are going to catch these pathogens. Different hand sanitizers that are going to provide a 24-hour protection when you put it on. A lot of the hand sanitizers that are being sold right now only provide like a 2-hour protection. So you feel stuff, but when you touch something, a couple hours later, you might be getting, that pathogen back on your hands, right? And now they have some hand sanitizers that are good for 24 hours. So there's going to be a lot of innovation, I think, in this industry. And yeah, I intend to kind of keep up with it and just start offering it to the people here in the Valley.
Wow.
Yeah, starting with us. Starting with Workline, Sarah and I. We're gonna be one of your first clients or your first few clients, and definitely want to get it in contact with some of that hand sanitizer too. And maybe we could have a supply out here at Workline for other people to purchase from you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can you share like some of your typical sanitizations on what companies and businesses may need? I know we talked before about, how a place needs to be sanitized, how often, high touch areas, bathroom doors, different techniques that you use to implement for businesses that are open and maybe restaurants and churches and gyms. I mean, that's a lot, but is the protocol pretty much the same across the board? And what does that look like?
It's pretty similar, except where you have to be more careful, like in a facility, like you're saying, a restaurant. That you have to be a little bit more careful because you have to make sure that you're using a chemical that is safe for a food contact surface. I mean, there are some chemicals that you can put down on a food contact surface, but then you have to rinse it off. And that takes a lot of work, so you're better off using something that you can just put on a food contact surface, and you can just leave it on, let it air dry, and it'll be safe. As far as the disinfectant procedures, it all starts off with obviously the type of chemical that you're using for disinfection, making sure that first of all that it's listed on the FDA's N list. That's what they call it. These are all the chemicals that the FDA has given approval, that are effective against the COVID-19. So that starts off that way. Also, then you have to make sure that you're using it properly, that you're applying it with with the proper instrument. Some people are, if you're using a thermal fogger for a material that is not meant for that, there's some people who are not paying attention to these type of things. They're applying. They might be applying a chemical that has, let's say, something like a chlorine dioxide, which is very volatile, and they're applying it with a thermal fogger that heats it up. So you have to make sure you read the label, once you choose the disinfectant, make sure you have the right dwell time, that you're leaving it on the surface for the right period of time. So it can be anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes, to leave the surface wet, to make sure that you're providing the proper, inactivation of the pathogen. Definitely focus on the high touch areas, door handles, doorknobs, let's see, like handrails, all those types of things where we're touching a lot. Near the desk areas. Focus on focusing on those areas. And I think we've gone through that, and I think you guys are pretty. I saw you have stickers on all the high touch surfaces, so that's a good thing, because then that reminds you what you need to disinfect, on a regular basis. Then as far as you can do it different ways. What I normally do is some of these high touch areas like door handles, and doorknobs, let's say keyboards, phones, light switches. When I do a disinfection, a lot of times I use a rag to disinfect these areas, and for other areas, then I can use a fogger or electrostatic sprayer. But I just like to pay a little bit extra attention, especially like a phone. I've seen people that maybe they just spray a phone with a. You don't see that too often now because a lot of people have cell phones. But if you go into an office where they actually have phones and they're, the mouthpiece and the earpiece are down, and somebody might just come by and spray with an electrostatic spray or a fogger, well, then they're not getting the area where, you have the highest potential to have the pathogen, right? So for things like that, I usually pick up the phone and we wipe it down with the disinfectant, and then we do the fogging or the electrostatic spraying. And as far as like how often to do it, it depends. If you have an area like a gym where you have people coming in, and different people coming in on a regular basis, it's good to disinfect, quite often. For sure, once a day, for sure. For the equipment, high touch areas, I would do definitely more often. And again, it depends on what type of chemical you're providing. What I'm using, the vital oxide, that can it kills, provides protection from mold and things like that for growing up to 4 weeks. And even though that's not COVID-19, but it tells you that it has a long-lasting, it provides long-lasting protection. But then you always have to be aware that if an infected person came after you disinfected and touched it, then you have to disinfect it again. And again, that's why I'm moving towards the antiviral coatings. But you have to disinfect and on a regular basis. It would have, and again, it all depends on the traffic that you have. I would have to almost see the surface, and that's why every time someone asks for help disinfecting, I always go to the facility and do an evaluation before we can set up a disinfection plan.
What about like fabric type surfaces? Like, some chairs have fabric or couches and things like that. Are you able to disinfect those as well and protect them?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can disinfect those. There's a couple of products that I use for that. Again, the vital oxide is it's been good for soft surfaces. You just have to be careful with some wool and certain surfaces that it might actually bleach a little bit.
Yeah.
You can definitely do those. There's another product called Procure but it's also very good for those type of surfaces. And then again, some of these products just evaporate, like the ProCure will evaporate and leave no residue.
Yeah.
I could hear this question being asked. Pet friendly? Is it the stuff that you use? Is it pet friendly?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely pet friendly. Yeah, the vital oxide has very low toxicity. So yeah, you can definitely use it around bedding, for your pets and places like that.
Cool. Nice, nice. So I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. As an entrepreneur and starting your own business and it being a franchise, I don't think I've never done a franchise. What pros and cons could you offer to our listeners and viewers about purchasing a franchise?
Oh wow, yeah, that's well. The first thing that I would say is go ahead and talk to a franchise broker. But right now it's almost very hard not to, because when let's say if you do a Google search for franchises, a lot of links there are already for franchise brokers. So even unintendedly, you're going to run into a franchise broker. So,
Yeah.
so I would say first, do your diligence on the franchise broker that you're using. But it's okay. Go ahead and use them. But don't necessarily rely on them 100%. If you come across, something that you like better, just go on your own. But a lot of times these guys are professionals, or girls, ladies are professional, and they can help you out with your search. They can help you with the pitfalls. They can help with the financing. A lot of people might not know that you can, if you want to start a franchise, you can finance it through your 401k.
Wow. That's
I
really
didn't
good.
know that.
Yeah, you can, if you have a 401k, yeah, you can even an IRA. You can without any tax consequences. So it wouldn't be you can. I forget exactly what something called Roth. They call it rollover for business startups.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so that's something that helps with and
Yeah.
yeah, I think that maybe that if you need some SBA financing, I think it helps, with the franchise, because that the success rate is a little bit better than, if you're starting a business from scratch. So I think, and sometimes, so that's another plus. If the company that you choose to franchise with, they might offer you some assistance, in getting, SBA financing, and well as doing the rollover from your tax deferred account. But yeah, it's a lot of it is doing your due diligence, and when you start a franchise, well, before you sign up, part of the discovery process is talking to other franchise owners.
Yeah.
Of course, the company that wants to sell you the franchise, they're going to obviously give you the names. So make sure you talk to I talked to 6 people from each franchise that I was looking into. People are going to say great things, about the franchise, obviously, but just, make sure, you ask questions that are important to you. And, make sure you grill those guys, the current franchisee owners, how long have they been in business? What kind of support are they getting from the headquarters? How is the software that they're using, or whatever advertising? That's what really key. The training. How good is the training? Before you get started. So I think for me, the one big thing was actually talking to those franchisees and asking them, as many questions as possible to get as much information as possible.
So there's a lot of advantages of going with the franchise because you have a support team, you have a system in place. It helps with financing, but do your research, right? That's going to be very important. I think that's a really key piece, is doing your research, talking with those individuals and seeing, what they like and what they dislike, and is it for you?
Yeah.
Because it's a
Let
commitment.
me, one thing I forgot, let me mention. When you read that franchise disclosure agreement, also look, there's two parts that are important. And one of them is, they'll have a list of all the current franchisees. So the company will give you 6 names or 4 names, whatever, for people. But once you look at the franchise disclosure agreement, you'll have a list of all the franchisees, so you can have access to call any of them, see how much revenue they're making, and also pay attention to there's an area there with for lawsuits.
Wow.
They've been sued, and for what? So that's one thing that I was also paying attention.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
I have a quick question. What do you love most about being in business for yourself? What is the one thing like, man, I made the right decision? What is that?
Yeah.
Well, most recently, it's I've been working with my son, so that's great. It's my son is getting ready to quit his job before he goes into the Coast Guard, and he said, "Hey, Dad, I want to go work with you. During the meantime." And I love that. That's something that I couldn't do. Working for somebody else. I love, but the other thing that I also love is the ability to be creative. And because sometimes we have an idea and say, "Hey, this is something I can do," and you just go ahead and do it. Where when you have a job, you pretty much have to stick to what needs to be done, and you can't be as creative. Find different ways to make your business better and make extra money. But I love that the ability to be creative, to find different ways to make more money and help people.
Wow. That's really good. Being creative as an entrepreneur, being creative, finding ways to make more money. Whereas if you work a 40-hour-a-week job, that's all the money that you can make. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yours, you can go out, find new business, be more creative, find new ideas, especially right now. What you're doing with the COVID, you're doing more work in sanitation, and it's creating a whole entity of business inside your business. And so that's great to hear. You're pivoting through the COVID, and is what we're doing. And we're trying to help others pivot and share information about how and what and when to do during the pandemic. So we just want to thank you, Jose, for being a part and sharing this valuable information. It seems to be information that everyone needs in their business, and maybe even using some of these things at home, because people are still sometimes going out to the stores and coming home. They're touching their doorknobs and all these different things. So get some type of sanitation that isn't a high chemical balance. I don't know the terminology you use, but
EPA registered as low toxicity.
Low toxicity. I learned something. Low toxicity. All right. Does that have it on the bottle? Is that on the can, or what do you look for?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's right there on the bottle. It'll tell you. And ask for, whenever you buy a chemical, ask for the SDS, the safety data sheet. They should provide safety data sheet. Yeah, any chemical that you purchase should come with a safety data sheet, and you can find all that information in there.
All right.
I want to say thank you too. Thank you for what you do, because you are an essential worker. We need more people like you to help other businesses. Not only are you helping other businesses and people, you're allowing them to work in an environment that's safe. And safety is the key thing of nowadays, is being safe. And thank you for we just can't even count how many lives you've actually saved, right? Because you did a lot of preventative maintenances with businesses and people. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And so next.
You're welcome.
What's today? Tuesday. I get my day so mixed up because
It's COVID.
yeah. But anyway, on Thursday we got a spectacular person that's going to be coming in and interviewing on us. Stay tuned. Watch. Stay forward. Stay tuned for our next show on Thursday. Thanks, Jose. Appreciate all you do.
Bye, guys.
Have a great evening.
Thank you,
All
Jose.
right. Thank you. All right. Bye.